Welcome to Cedar Club, Quincy's favorite local bar. A friendly corner bar with a laid-back atmosphere and affordable drinks. It's the perfect spot for a great time. With entertainment galore, including shuffleboard, golden tee, pool, foosball, and winning gaming machines. Cedar Club's latest edition is the best spot to catch your favorite game. Great drinks, great friends, and great times. Cedar Club, 20th and Cedar in Quincy. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Muddy. I'm Ashley Conrad. Joining me today, Sandra Height, Executive Director of the Quincy Arts Center. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you, Ashley. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So I've been seeing signs all over Quincy about the Downtown Dogwood Art Walk. Okay, so tell me a little bit about this because I have never seen these signs before. First year?
This is our first year.
Okay, give me some info.
Yes, well, we're very excited. The Art Center really wanted to bring the community together after the parade. It draws so many people in Quincy and in the region, and we just thought, what better way to do that than to create something ready-made for people to remain in Quincy, tourists to remain in Quincy. We think it's great for our businesses downtown. It's wonderful for our local artists to have another opportunity to showcase their artwork, and also family fun, something to do, you know, for the rest of the day.
Yes, absolutely. Something for everyone. So can you give me an idea of kind of what this looks like? What's the gist of it?
Absolutely. So the event goes from 11 to 4. So technically toward the tail end, when the last floats and part of the parade are peeling off, we're hoping that people do make their way down to the district. And there are 19 businesses that are available for what we call wristband perks. So for $25 for adults or $10 for children, you can go to businesses and get discounts. So for example, if you wander into 8 Open, you'll get a discount on a meal there.
Okay.
We've got an early perk at Times Square, so you get a discount there, but we also have artists showcasing. So for example, at 8 Open, we have the Woodworkers Guild. We'll have all of their amazing, fascinating artwork on display that people can touch and see and purchase.
Yeah, so you have businesses that are participating. If you get a wristband, you go in, you not only get discounts, but you get to see local artists, the talent. Yeah, what a cool partnership.
Thanks.
That is a really great idea.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Okay, so yeah, seeing the signs, I was like, all right, I have to know more. So now you're talking about, of course, Parade Day, Dogwood Parade Day here in Quincy, and it's not limited to people who are coming down for the parade. Anybody can be involved in this, right? Art lovers, families.
Absolutely. And it's also free. The wristband are just for perks if you actually want to purchase something and get discounts. If you want to have something to eat or drink. We've also got a makerspace, a really fabulous makerspace for families to go to. We've got face painting. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to wander into businesses and you want to see the artwork, that's all free.
Right.
And people can just thoroughly enjoy that for as long as they care to be down there.
Excellent. So you don't have to purchase a wristband, but there are perks. So how do people know what businesses are included in the Downtown Art Walk?
Well, the list of businesses are prominently placed on our Facebook page. So if you follow Quincy Art Center, you will see many explanations. Each business is featured and each artist is featured. So you can get details. Also on our website, you can go to Quincy Art Center website and see all of the details around that, as well as if you want to pre-purchase any wristbands, you can go ahead and do that. And we're also on Instagram. So we've got a lot of places that you can go to just to kind of see, is this something that you want to go to, which I'm sure you do.
Yeah, everybody does. Come on, Sandra. Yes, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also to kind of plan your route. One of the things you'll get with your wristband is a map. And the map is, I'm just going to hold it up so you can see it.
Very easy to follow.
Really easy to follow, large, do not need glasses to see it, but it just, you can plan your route. You know, which businesses are you interested in, which artists are you following, and so you can just wander all it down. Everything is walkable. It's essentially around Washington Square, Hampshire Street, Main Street, 6th Street, and our business, the furthest away from the river is Poppin on Main.
Okay. So very walkable, very convenient, great. I love this concept. So cool.
Oh, thank you.
So now when you're purchasing a wristband, do you have to do it before that day, or you can do it, because I'm very bad at planning?
You do not.
Okay.
For people who are planners, they can purchase them right now, and then when you come to the kiosk, you just show that you've purchased the ticket. We will have the name as well. But many people might want to get down there and get the vibe and see if they want to stay.
Sure.
And we have 2 kiosks. One's going to be at Washington Street Theater, and the other one is going to be a kiosk, a clerk station that we're going to have just at the base of the First Mid Bank right on Main Street in their parking lot, and that you can go up and just purchase them right there. They're going to be QR codes, take you directly there. We'll have plenty of people to help if people are feeling a little uncomfortable knowing how to do that. We'll also have merchandise for sale, so you can get one of these first edition pieces of merchandise, but they will also be there to hand out the brochures and even to send people to, depending on who's making up the family or the individuals, can kind of nudge them in a direction to follow their interests.
Gotcha. Very cool. Very exciting for Quincy, and another add-on to our wonderful tradition of our Dogwood Weekend, Dogwood Parade Day. A great partnership between local businesses and artists and the Art Center, of course. Thank you so much. One more time, if people want more information or if they want to get those wristbands.
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or go directly to our website, Quincy Art Center.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. And good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Now, rain or shine?
Rain or shine.
Okay, cool. There you go. Downtown Art Walk here in Quincy on Dogwood Parade Day. Don't miss it. Coming up next, Michael Seaver with the City of Quincy. We're going to talk about zoning and ordinances. Stay tuned.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
Welcome out to Kelly's on Broadway tonight. We're drinking cold beer and it feels so right. I'll meet you out on Broadway underneath Shamrock Light. We're gonna have a good time on the patio tonight. There's a party down at Kelly's on Broadway tonight. We're drinking cold beer on a champagne night. We're feeling all alone and you got no place to go. So come down here and drink a beer on Kelly's patio. Kelly's a fun place to eat and drink. 2902 Broadway.
Welcome to the Abbey, a Quincy tradition. With 6 big screens, a new larger kitchen, and now more seating capacity, the Abbey is the place to be before, during, and after the big game. Come enjoy fan favorite appetizers, steaks, burgers, and a variety of daily food and drink specials. Can't join us? Carryout is available too. Now with a convenient drive-up window to better serve you. 1736 Spring in Quincy. Opens at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Come join all your friends at the Abbey, a Quincy tradition.
The Tower, a great place to meet and eat. But did you know the Tower has one of the finest drink selections in our area? Along with its incredible Mexican menu, the Tower specializes in tequilas for every taste. Names like Patron, Cabo Wabo, and Hornitos. And don't forget the margaritas. On Mondays and Tuesdays, stop by and pick up a single topping pizza and get Tower margaritas to go. Enjoy the Tower at home or in our dining room, bar area, or the Tower's signature climate-controlled porch. The Tower Pizza and Mexican in Quincy.
Are you looking for the perfect venue for your next special event? Check out Utopia Event Center. Utopia has a large banquet room and an awesome bar area, perfect for anything from birthday parties to formal corporate meetings. It also offers a photo booth, stage for a DJ or a live band, and a fully stocked bar, all for only $300. Check us out at utopiaeventcenter.com or call Barn at 217-430-6559 for more information. Utopia Event Center, 900 North 12th Street in Quincy.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
And welcome back. Now it's time for
Coffee Talk.
Thanks to EFB, Britt B, and Ash C. Get to spill the tea. And today we have a very special guest, Michael Seaver, City of Quincy, the Director of what?
Inspection and Enforcement.
Inspection and Enforcement. Primarily because last week on Coffee Talk we
interviewed a young lady, and she had an ordinance violation, and that brought to light a lot of questions like, what are ordinances in general? And Michael Seaver and I talked for a minute, and I asked, are they laws? And they are, so that's what I kind of want to get into is how ordinances come about in the first place. How do they become law?
So the ordinances are city laws, so things that the federal or the state government haven't provided for, but they authorize local governments to create regulations for. And so I think the one last week that we talked about was related to zoning, and
Can't park your car in your
Can't park your car in your
yard.
yard.
right,
Yeah.
among other things.
Yes. So we were talking about how you get those complaints, or do you have, so you have enforcers, right?
Right.
Like a staff of enforcers, is that what they're called?
We have one, yes, we have
Okay.
one person dedicated to that function.
Okay. So one person now, their role isn't primarily to drive around and see if these codes are being enforced, is that right? Or if they're being violated?
It is,
Okay.
but truthfully, one person's not sufficient for, if we know that we have 15 to 16,000 properties in town, one person couldn't do that proactively and be effective at it. So
Right.
he does do some of that, but he also responds to complaints, which may, constitute 75% of his day or more.
Gotcha. So when you were looking at, so I was looking at a list, and maybe you can give me a better idea. So in kind of overarching categories, you have like garbage, you have like we'll call it the lawn, so grass nuisance
Right.
if it gets
Those are the
above
two
a
big
certain.
ones.
Yeah. And then zoning, which there aren't as many, and then I don't know would the cars in the yard be considered the zoning
That's
thing as
zoning,
well?
yes.
Okay. Are there any other kind of top level categories that we're looking at as far as violations?
Probably not at that level.
Okay.
Then we go into also minimum housing and property maintenance, which
Yeah.
are more, permanent things than acts of not mowing or not
Right.
removing trash.
Now, have you seen an increase in those since the QRL discussions?
Well, and when we talk about discussions, the city's been in discussions with different members of that group for probably 10 years or more.
Yeah.
And so several years back, they did make an effort to become advocates for tenants who may be reluctant to come forward with a complaint. And that did generate a few more than we would typically see, but
Sure.
Still not a significant number.
Gotcha.
Back to how they are made and stuff. So, like, are ordinances created during a city council meeting? Do you take it to
Yes.
court afterwards? How does that work?
Well, the ordinances themselves, the laws themselves, would be adopted by council, and I don't know the history of a lot of the zoning laws. They've predated anyone's tenure with the city. It appears, looking around at other cities, that there may have been a model zoning ordinance out there, and I'm talking back into the 40s, 50s, 60s, because a lot of the language is identical from city to city. Either that, or they used consultants back then that advised them on how to structure a zoning ordinance.
So for that, though, if you said, like, it's so old and so predated, is there, like, certain situations where you think, I guess we just ran into that with the apartment complex, where it's time to change the zoning? And if so, how does that work?
Yeah, and we've had that exact thing happen in the past. And one example, this seems to reoccur about every 2 years, is people parking boats or campers in their driveway, which technically isn't allowed either. But we'll get a complaint, and we explain to the complainant, and the complaint may come through an alderman, which was the case several years back in the first ward. And we explain that when we go into a neighborhood then and we inspect that violation, we're also going to go up and down the street and throughout that immediate area and write up any other similar instances, and that usually starts a firestorm of, it depends on which side of this equation you're on. If you're
Then they're driving around, they're like,
Yes.
there's
Right.
one, there's
Exactly.
one. Yeah.
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 So did you see that happen with, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't
No,
mean to cut
I
you.
wanted to know the same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you see
that
an
happen with
intake?
the truck?
I don't know that we did this time, no.
No?
It didn't
Okay.
really start that. I don't know, though, that, and again, I'm not overly familiar, other than I'm aware of that case, but that wasn't one that I handled, and I'm not intimately familiar with the details. But I don't think that in that immediate area there are other instances of vehicles parked in a front yard.
Right.
I'm not sure that that's the case, but that's,
Yeah.
back to the boat and camper thing, that was the case like in the Northridge subdivision back then. So we wrote up a number of properties. The alderman caught a bunch of calls, a bunch of flack from neighbors, And so that discussion did come to the council level. Should we take a look at this ordinance and change it? Because not only are they prohibited from being parked in a driveway, but years ago,
You can park them on the street.
our parking ordinances prevented them from being parked on the street. So now you can't park
Where
them
do you
anywhere.
go?
Right, now
Yeah.
you got to get them off site completely. So
Yeah.
that led to a temporary moratorium on enforcing that ordinance. We were going to try that for a year or the better part of a year and see if it created any unintended consequences. I don't think it did, but when we brought it back to council then to let's just
Amend it.
amend that
So
out of
that
the zoning
happened.
code, then the council didn't opt to do that. Then the discussion was, well, this maybe it's okay for that neighborhood, but another neighborhood may have an issue with it, so let's leave it alone. So-
Gotcha. So not painting with a broad brush all over the city for
Correct.
one ordinance. So
Right.
there are ways to, sometimes they're case by case, depending on neighborhoods. So then, once that one's amended for that neighborhood, you won't go back out and they won't have an ordinance violation slapped on them. Or
Right.
will
So
they?
no, and it wouldn't
Okay.
be by neighborhood; it'd be citywide. And so that was the discussion then.
Oh.
That just because in that particular neighborhood, in that particular ward, they were comfortable with making that that situation continue. That maybe
Yeah.
other wards and other circumstances
Okay.
may not be may have issues with it. So they just decided not to change it.
So is that
Interesting.
possible then with this young lady's if, say, the entire ward or neighborhood came to the council and said, we don't have a problem with it? Is there a way to not paint it with a broad brush or?
I doubt if that will happen in that area.
Not
That's just what I'll say.
No,
but-
obviously because
yeah.
the complaint probably came. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
In theory,
Yeah.
are ordinances able to be lifted?
They are. The council has absolute authority to amend them, to take them away, to add.
So if the world
provisions.
goes to
Yeah.
shit and we want to collect rainwater for
Yeah.
our drinkage, they'll possibly amend
it.
that?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
take the fine. How much is the fine?
Yeah.
Speaking of that.
With court costs, I think it's a little over $200
Okay. Per offense?
per offense.
Okay.
Yeah.
When does it go to court? How many times do you have a?
It's like a 3 strikes you're out type
Yeah.
thing?
No, generally, if we don't get compliance in that, in a case like that, that's the only recourse we have. When it's tall grass or trash, we have the opportunity to just go in and abate the nuisance, but we're obviously not going to go in and take a
Yeah, take a
vehicle,
truck. Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
a good running vehicle
Right.
that's presumably licensed and
Yeah.
operable. So our only recourse is to go to court.
Yeah.
What's the fine
So-
when you have to mow someone's grass? Is it $200?
It'd probably be about that, depending on the size of the yard, but it's a minimum of two men and a minimum of an hour, so at least $120 and up from there.
And then how do you determine, I guess, which ones you're going to do? I mean, I know it's somewhat complaint driven, but how many times does somebody have to say, hey, this grass is too tall. Will you drive by it? And then I guess how many drive-bys have to happen?
Well, our standard's pretty high compared to a lot of other communities. We say it's 10 inches in height, so that's pretty tall. It's got to be pretty
Wow.
bad to
Yeah.
actually have a standing height of 10 inches. So by the time it reaches that, we've gone through, for me and you, 5 or 6 mowing cycles. So it's very noticeable. And at that point, the notice goes out. We give them, then the ordinance says 3 days. We give them a week because we realize that's going out by first-class mail, and it could take 2 or 3 days for them to receive it. But we'll go back in a week, and if that condition still exists, then we generate a work order. At last check, we had about 75 to 80 work orders out there, so we're not going to get there the next day and mow
Right.
it either. It's going to be at least a week probably, depending on.
So then you prioritize based on the situation, how dire it is?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And they should. The central services would normally working from the oldest work order forward, but if they go through the list and they see that there's a property nearby on that list, it only makes sense to go do that one while
Sure.
they're in that area.
Yeah. So I know that there's probably a lot of variables that go into it, but from start to finish, about how long does it take to close an ordinance, provided they have, they're cooperating?
Oh, if they're cooperating within 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
I think I've learned a lot.
Yeah. It's been an interesting conversation. Of course.
Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
So in this, how often do you hear as the director that maybe there's like a good old boys club behind this, like where some people have complaints and they're not going to get a ordinance slapped on them, they're going to get a good warning. I mean, I know you do warnings for everyone, but maybe some people just are overlooked completely, and we just don't.
Or somebody really important calls and they're like, I hate this, over somebody who's like maybe not so important. Is there a
I'm not saying that you do that, but how often do you hear this?
Hear that criticism?
Yes.
We hear it occasionally, but again, being on the inside, we know that's not the case. It's not real resonant with us. So I mean, we're going to hear all kinds of criticisms, but
what do you do in your spare time? We talked about how I was like, dang, Michael, you have a job.
He's driving around looking for tall grass.
Right.
No, he's not.
No.
What do you do for fun to relax? I mean, you have to be the enforcer, and then you're the captain of the enforcers.
Yeah.
We try to put our blinders on weekends and evenings, but when you do it all day, you do tend to notice things. But yeah, it has its days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love seeing the faces behind the titles, because sometimes it's easy for us to be like, oh, this armchair quarterbacks, because you see people who are, breaking the rules and we like them. So personally to us, it's like, well, maybe we can amend this just for this. But then I try to put myself in the neighbor's position or, even the complainant. So you're like, okay, if this bothers me to that point, which I don't think anything really would except for really tall grass because I hate all the pests that it brings.
Right.
If I really thought that was an issue, of course I'm going to complain about it. But beware, complainers, because you better make sure that all of your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, because those people will be out looking to make sure that you're the rule follower, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop making Michael's job so hard.
Right? Let's ease it up on him, okay? So thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us. Good luck in all of your enforcements, and to the fella who is in charge of identifying all those and dealing with those complaints. Good luck to you, good sir. We'd love to have you on. We'd love to learn more. Sorry if we've offended anybody with our lack of knowledge on how things work, but that's why we had you on,
No,
so
it's
that
good
we
to
could
do. Absolutely.
we could learn a little bit more and perhaps teach through
instead of just stirring
the
tea.
the city pot.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Thank
on
you,
that
EFB.
note, I think thank you, EFB, for letting us stir the pot. And on that note, I think that does it for today's
Coffee talk. Look, Michael, we didn't even make you do it.
Yeah, right? Thanks.